You know that feeling, right? You're on a project, the idea is brilliant, everyone's excited, and then it just stops. It fizzles out. Deadlines start slipping, and nobody can quite put their finger on why. It's so frustrating. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and expose the silent killer behind all of this. Let's get into it. Oh, yeah, we've all been there. That slow, creeping chaos when a project just starts to go completely off the rails. All of a sudden, you're in the same meeting for the third time, talking about the exact same thing. People are starting to point fingers, and actual progress has ground to a halt. That, my friends, is the project death spiral. And it is terrifyingly common. So it really begs the question, why? Why do so many projects that have a fantastic vision, full of smart, talented people, just completely fall apart? It's almost never about the idea being bad or not having enough money. The real reason is usually so much simpler, and it's something we almost always overlook. The real culprit, the thing that's hiding in plain sight, is ambiguity. Plain and simple. It's a lack of clarity. When people don't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, or who they're supposed to talk to, or who makes the final call, well, even the easiest tasks become a tangled, impossible mess. And this quote just nails it. As the marketing genius Seth Godin says, a single project can have hundreds of little dependencies, and all it takes is one single person not filling out one single form, and boom, the entire timeline is shot. It's like a domino effect that starts with just one moment of unclear ownership. So, how in the world do we fight this? How do we stop the chaos before it even starts? Well, it all begins with a beautifully simple idea. You have to define two and only two absolutely critical roles from the get-go. For literally any project to have a chance, you need these two distinct forces working together. On one side, you've got the leader. They're all about the why. And on the other side, you have the executor, who is obsessed with the how. These two have to be in perfect sync, because if those lines get blurred, or even worse, if they're fighting each other, that's when a project truly dies. Let's break down what these rules actually look like. Okay, so the leader. This is the project's champion. This is the person who gets everyone fired up about the vision. They're not always the one in the weeds managing day-to-day, but they're providing that high-level guidance, that strategic North Star that keeps the ship pointed in the right direction. And maybe most importantly, they make the team really believe in the why. And then you have the executor. Think of them as the project manager, the person who lives and breathes the details. They are masters of organization, of follow-through. They take the leader's big vision and they translate it into a concrete step-by-step plan. They're the ones turning the what-if into the how-to and making sure it all gets done smoothly and on time. Now, look, having these definitions is great and all, but they are totally useless until you do the single most important thing. You have to actually put a name in each of those boxes. It's time to go from abstract ideas to real human accountability. And this is the bottom line. Seth Godin says it perfectly here. If you can't point to one single person and say they are responsible for getting this thing out the door, then you don't have a project, you have a committee. And committees don't ship things, they just talk. Having one person with that ultimate accountability is completely non-negotiable. So how do you actually do this? It's really just a simple three-step process. First, define the goal with razor-sharp clarity. Everyone needs to know what done looks like. Second, list out every single essential task, from writing the first draft to getting the final check signed. And third, for every one of those tasks, you assign one leader and one executor. That's it. That's how you kill ambiguity. And this is what it looks like in the real world. You can see how simple it makes everything. Look at the task, create budget. The executor, the person doing the work, might be someone from accounting. But the leader, the person who owns the vision for that budget, is the executive director. See? No confusion, no overlap, just crystal clear ownership. All right, so you've done all of this. You've defined the roles, you've put names in boxes, you've created this perfect, unambiguous plan. You've basically built the engine for success. But here's the thing about an engine. No matter how perfectly designed it is, it still needs fuel to run. And that brings us to the most powerful and often the most forgotten force in any project. And here's the twist. This is the thing that can completely derail even the best laid plans. You can have a flawless blueprint, a project charter that's a work of art, and the whole thing can still come grinding to a screeching halt. So what happens when the machine is perfect, but the people who are supposed to be running it just aren't on board? The answer is right here. The ultimate X factor in all of this.
It isn't the plan, it's the people. The success or failure of any project truly hangs on the motivation and the buy-in from the entire team, the folks who are actually doing the work day in and day out.
Let's look at a real-world story that shows this perfectly. There was this company, Lubber, and they developed a really groundbreaking AI system. On paper, it was absolutely brilliant. It was designed to make the super complicated process of selling industrial coolants way faster and more accurate. But there was one massive problem. The company completely forgot to get buy-in from their own sales team. The sales reps felt threatened by this new tech. They were worried it was going to make their jobs obsolete. So they had absolutely zero ownership, zero investment in seeing this thing succeed. And the results? It was a total disaster. The sales reps didn't just ignore the system, they actively worked against it. They would tell customers about their doubts. Of course, the customers picked up on that internal friction and sales just never happened. So even though it was a technical masterpiece, the project was a complete commercial failure and had to be pulled. And this story just perfectly illustrates the big lesson here. A great plan, a great proposal, it means nothing if your team isn't motivated. Without the genuine ownership and investment of the people on the ground, even the best ideas are pretty much destined to fail. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. Let's build a practical blueprint you can literally take and use on your very next project to make sure you've got alignment and that you avoid all of these common traps. Here it is, your 4-point plan for success. Number 1, declare war on ambiguity. Define a super specific scope. 2, assign one leader and one executor for every single task. No exceptions. 3, and this might be the most important part, make sure the entire team feels a sense of ownership, that they are invested in the outcome. And finally, number 4, put it all in writing. A shared document isn't just a piece of paper, it's a commitment. It makes that alignment real. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to take back to your own work. Think about the most important project you're on right now. Can you, without any hesitation, name the leader and name the executor? If you can't, well, you've just found your first and most important task.